execute a basic SQL queries. How do we execute a basic SQL queries? So using GT objects, right? And then so this session, so we will see about and how do you select the records? How do you select the different SQL queries? And what are the different ways that you can execute the queries? And then we will also try to discuss about what is the RowMapper, how do we use the RowMapper, and then how do we get the response in our custom objects. So we will try to learn about those. And then after, so we will try to build a web application, so using JDBC standards. I will be developing a web application, so using servlets and JSPs, and then the database connectivity using Spring JDBC. So how do we develop that application? So we'll also try to look at part of the session. So let's see, STS is launching. Just taking time. I'm hoping I'm sharing you every day converted recordings. Hopefully you're able to use it. So people can also try both STS. You can also try in Eclipse. So both are same. So for regards to Eclipse, I'm using Eclipse Oxygen. So you can try with any version of Eclipse. So it should work. And so whatever applications which I'm doing with respect of MySQL, you can still even try for the same thing for Oracle as well, because only thing is your connection properties will change, nothing else will be different. Come on, I don't know what job it is doing internally. It could have been launched well advanced. Okay, so that's perfect. Sada is also joined in the meeting. That's good. Okay, launched STS perfectly. So opening the session workspace. And so Ankur is in WhatsApp group. Everybody is joined. Is everybody joined, right?
Now everybody.
Prashanti, so you also joined in the WhatsApp. So would you like to join?
She also joined.
She is also joined. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Okay, so thank you, Ankur, for adding that. So that so people, if you have any questions, any discussion, if you see that any recordings are missing, or anybody is not able to execute, or someone is able to execute any program, so please try to discuss on the group and use it effectively. Okay, so share the knowledge between each other. So hopefully that can help you. Okay, and at least it is even good for me if sometimes if I'm getting late or you are getting late, so you can always post in the WhatsApp. So we will come to know that you are been on track. Oh, come on, why is taking so time? I don't know. So it should generally launch very fast, because only at the very first time when you are launching, because it has to load all the dependencies. So that's why it will be a little slow initially, but now it should be very fast. I guess my hardware is very bad. Okay, somehow finally we reached. Okay, so what I will do, I will try to import the another project in which relates to the concept of RowMapper and whatever I discussed. So let me try to import that application, okay, into here. So let me close all these files and I'll import that application. So you know how to import the Maven applications. Okay, I'll go to General, so existing project into our workspace, and browse the location of the project, browse it. Okay, I have, it is in some workspace folder. Let me check where it is. Okay, so yeah, so I have a name of the project called JDBC Examples project. Okay, so you need to copy that project from their workspace to our workspace and click on finish it. Okay, and I am hoping this is also a Maven project. We need to refactor for to fit in our sequence, project sequence. I'll try to refactor this. So hopefully you are also importing all this project at your workspace. Okay, so make sure that every day which I am attaching the projects, so try to import it and then run example on top of that. You can practice more. Okay, I'll try to refactor this. So yesterday we found a different option for to refactor. So refactor using Maven artifact, so which is refactoring automatically, right? So com.easylearn is a package. The project sequence number is 21. So Spring DAO, I will use the word called Spring DAO is a module name. Okay, so JDBC examples. Okay, not only from JT, so we are trying to discussing with other examples also. JDBC examples project. So rename everything within this workspace wherever it is matched. So click on preview. Just it will be notified a trigger how many places you have with this name. It will be renamed accordingly, and check it whether it's correctly refactoring or not. Okay, looks like only one place. Sounds good. So it can be refactored. Okay, now it is ready. So let us get started. So I mean, why I'm not spending more time to adding a new project and then doing is, so it's wastage of so time instead of that, so we can directly concentrate on the concept, right? The same thing. So but again I will open each and every file. I'll show you. So, and if you go back here, so the pom.xml file, which should exactly the similar with the yesterday JDBC pom file, nothing should be different, because the additionally what I'm adding here is I'm adding so JDBC libraries, and then I'm adding so driver file for MySQL, and rest is the same, right? So beans core and then context related jar. So this is remains the same, nothing is changed, and rest is Maven projects. So I've written so these are all the several example. Okay, so spring config.xml file, so where you have configured driver manager data source. Okay, so that is as usual, and I'm also trying to showing you, so this is a plain JDBC example. If you are working on a plain JDBC example, so what are the challenges? Okay, I mean, how many number of lines of the code that you need to write in the application? Okay, so but if you go to the JDBC in the same application, how you are simplifying? I'm also trying to comparing in this JDBC examples project. Okay, so if it is a, I mean, hopefully everybody know this, but still I'm just trying to you to recollect the knowledge. If it is a plain J2W JDBC, so you need to load the driver class, and you need to get the getting the connection. You need to prepare the statement. You need to execute the query. Then so after that, so you need to get the result. You have to write a while loop. Then you need to read one by one record, one by one column. You have to retrieve. And then so you need to populate, if you want, you need to populate to some objects. Then finally, again in the finally block, you need to close all the objects which you have opened, right? So almost like every skeleton of the code which you have to write. Okay, let me connect to our database as well. Click on continue, connect. Okay. So our database name is Java Learning DB is our database. Let me try to change the database name. Okay, I'll change the database to Java Learning DB. Okay, so if I run this program, so this will work as it is. Everybody knows this. Okay, I'm just trying to recollecting you the steps. How we are going to be simplifying this in JDBC. Okay, and that is what I will be showing you. Okay, so here is all 19 records in part of the database. So all the 19 records has been showed. This is employee DB. So 19 records, sorry, 14 records are there. 14 records are shown, but ID is beginning from 1 to 19. So that is what you are able to see, right? This is the plain JDBC example. And the same thing if you do it from, so this one, yesterday we have seen already. So I have written a class called data source config. In this data source config, what I'm doing is I'm loading. Okay, I've not written a separate client class every time. Okay, so what I'm doing is I want to reuse this class. So one time I'm loading the Spring configuration file, getting the data source object, then so preparing the JDBC template object. So this is another way which you can do compared to your yesterday. So if you compare with the yesterday one and this one, so JT I'm directly configuring in the Spring configuration file, but now I'm doing, so I've written a separate class, and then so I am injecting over here. So then so when I'm running here Spring JDBC application, we are getting the JT object, and then we are getting the count. This one we have already seen, but I'm also trying to showing you the where condition. So yesterday we have not seen any where condition, but I'm just trying to showing you the where condition as well. Okay, so the where condition, then you can pass object of arrays, and in the first question mark it will automatically substitutes the record number. Okay, automatically it will substitutes the record number. Like let's change 10. Then if I run this program, so run as Java application. Okay, it will automatically, it should connect to database. Then because why it is giving you error, anybody can recollect. Previously I was using in this project is a database called training DB. Okay, now it is searching with the same database. There is no database found, so you got an unknown database. So we need to change. Where we need to change? In our Spring configuration file. So I have changed. I need to change here database name in one place. Now go back to here and then run this application. Run a Java application. So, and it is executing. Okay, maybe some of the columns are different still. Okay, so ID underscore EMP is the column name. Okay, so let me change it to ID underscore EMP. You all know, so the sequels are, all the sequels are, okay, not a case sensitive. You can write caps or lower cases, that's up to you. So here, okay, so the total number of employees records are being retrieved, so as 14, and then so one of employee record is also fetched. See here, the same thing exactly in J2EE, okay, DB here also. However, you do select star from employee in execute query. Here you will get a result set update, but here you will get an advanced concept called row set. Hopefully everybody know the difference between a result set and row set. Result set is a database connected object, but whereas the row set is the database disconnected object. What does that mean? That still your connection is disconnected, still, okay, row set has the capability to retrieve the data and then so it will display it. But whereas the result set, once the connection is closed, it will stop for not to read any data from the result set, right? So it will directly give you the row set instead of result set, and then you can read the data from directly in the result sets. So make sense? This is the, okay, example how you can write a select queries. Okay, so using row set and you can retrieve the data. So this one we have already seen yesterday. All right. A simple example. I just want you to refer it. Now let's go back. So how about if I want to read a multiple objects and I don't want to print anywhere like this. I want to populate to some employee bean object. So here if you see, I have an employee bean object. I want to populate my data to the bean class. How do you read it? How do you populate the data? So does it every time will works like this? No. Right, in the real world we need to transfer the data to different layers, and you cannot just write a system that out that println. So if that is the case, how do you do this? Okay, how do we retrieve the data? Okay, for that, so we have an example. I'll show you the example called RowMapper. Okay, the same examples of which I am trying to explain you. So using the same example, I am trying to using query for objects. So I'm getting the JT object, JT.query for object, same query which I am executing. Record number, employee ID is 10. Okay, so EMP underscore ID underscore EMP is ID. Okay, I'm executing, but what I'm doing is in this query for object, instead of directly returning you the object, so what I'm doing is I want to populate whole data into employee objects. So simply what I'm doing is I am okay, so overriding the RowMapper class here. I'm overriding the RowMap class here. So new RowMapper, what it will do, each and every row which is written from database, it will map to your Pojo class. The RowMapper, okay, has the RowMapper is interface, and I am implementing here. So which has the method called MapRow. Okay, MapRow will carries the one is result set object and second one is row number. Okay. Okay, so here, and so I'm constructing a employee object. I'm reading one by one value from the result set, and then I'm populating here. Then finally we are preparing employee object, and if you execute this line, ultimately what you are getting is finally employee object. If you print that employee object, and your whole data will be displayed. So make sense?
Any
So
RowMapper, it looks like an anonymous inner class.
yes, basically RowMapper is an anonymous class. I mean, what I did here is it's like I made it as an anonymous class.
Actually, what is what is the main benefit of using RowMapper?
Okay, it will return you the objects. You can directly get the objects. Okay, so like similarly in hibernate, in however you deal with in object oriented approaches, so if you just execute a query, it will return you the objects. But how do you think that internally hibernate is doing? So exactly, hibernate also might be doing a kind of a similar logic over there, but we are using here plain JDBC, but so directly your data will be populated instead of writing a separate code, instead of writing a while loop and then so reading one by one value from the result set object, then populating. So here part of your query execution itself, it will call a method called callback method. You can also use another word called anonymous. You can also call as callback method. So your RowMapper is a callback method which will be executed, and all the returned result map row will be populated to your employee object. Finally, you will be getting your result in terms of employee object. Now this object can be transferred to different layers, maybe JSP or maybe in another servlets or whichever the layer that you want to transfer, controller layer or service layer, you can still transfer it the whole objects. So if I run this code, so let me run this, run as Java application, I would expect the record should be populated. Okay, so it is not populated, interesting. Okay, maybe columns might not be matched, no problem, so we'll try to check it. So saying that so get long, but where is it? So, okay, so might be a difference, yeah. So this is a phone number and this is an email address. So this is the first column, second column, third column, fourth column. Okay, middle name is also there, so that's what. Okay, so and this is your fifth column, this is sixth column. Okay, so phone number is your fifth column and this is your sixth column. Maybe I may not have all the columns in my project. Is it compulsory that I need to read all the columns? Right, it's my own choice. So only my required columns I can always select it. Now if I run this code, run as Java application, okay, if I run as Java application, okay, so now your program is executed, so all your data is by default populated into employee objects. So then, so your data has been written in terms of employee objects. Right? So now you got a response, and in terms of employee object, I'm just printing the employee object. So here is the data. So it is automatically populated this, right? So just so if you are not returning this, it will give you a normal okay object or result set. You need to use SQL row set or something. Then you need to write a while loop. Then so you have to read so while loop, but then rs.next. You have to check if there is any record. Then you have to read one by one value. Then again you need to populate. But here is the common place which you can show. Okay, it will along with one shot of execution, it will also execute this. It will directly give you the employee objects. So the same logic also can be applicable even for multiple rows. Okay, so I did for only one row. If I want to do for same like multiple employees, do I need to change any code? Absolutely not. The same if I copy pasted and just instead of this to be become a list, and then so only thing is I need to change this is a list, the same code should work. So if it is a list, I don't need to write here while loop. I don't need to do anything. Again, your RowMapper should remains the same. Okay, it should remains the same. So I don't need to make any really changes. Let me show you that as well. Okay, Here, okay, here if you look at it, so I have a same logic, same code and RowMapper, and this code will not be changed. Okay, so simply what I'm doing is, here is for only one object I'm writing J, okay, query for objects, but here is for multiple, so I'm just writing jd.query. So jd.query, where I'm executing just employee record, so employee object. So let me change, because I just roll back to my changes. ID emp is the column name, okay, and I think so this is your this one is your fifth and this one is sixth, right? This is 1 2 3 4 5, okay, this is a 5, and okay, this one is your sixth column. Okay, but so here also, okay, for getting all the employees also I have the same thing, so which I'm using. Okay, I have the same thing, so which I'm using for this as well. Okay, so that's how it will really help. So I will also try to make a changes here. So okay, so sixth, okay, I will run this code, and the same RowMapper will applicable for both, even for single record as well as multiple records. Incorrect actual size, why? Okay, so here I don't have a record called 13, so because we have deleted yesterday, so let me use this. See here, the same program is working, the same RowMapper is even working for even single record as well as multiple records as well. Make sense? Make sense? Okay, it is directly giving a list, so similar to your hibernate. In hibernate also the same thing, if you do, okay, dot find all, so session factory, so given you the session dot find all, if you pass your employee object, it will directly give you the list of employees, but you don't know internally what will happen. But here it's a very transparent, you will come to know what we are really doing, for which object to which object we are populating, how we are building our, okay. So I'm not preparing here array lists, I'm not reading a while loop here, okay, I'm not, okay, adding into the list one by one, but okay, it all internally it performs, the callback method internally performs. But only thing is you need to map the RowMapper, and you have to give you which column to which column it maps, that's it, and then you will ultimately get the list. So it's simplifying a lot of code.
Srini, what is doing actually inside for calling this method again and again?
So we are not really doing, okay, so let me remove this all code, okay. I'll remove all this code. Simply, okay, if it is a normal method, okay, looks like this, right? So simply what I want to do, I want to implement new RowMapper, because basically that's an interface, but I want to use as a like anonymous class. So simply what I'm doing here, I want to implement RowMapper. So RowMapper is an interface, still you can implement within the, okay, within the existing class. Here RowMapper, as it is an anonymous class, I can, okay, so override this class over here. So see here, RowMapper is anonymous, so the moment if I double click on this, so okay, it has the method on it, so you need to implement that method, so it will comes the map row, that's it. So your object map row is being overridden, so this is a overridden method, and then you need to implement the method, how you will map the row, and you can write that logic here, and that is what I have written. I have written only this much code, because hibernate doesn't, Spring JDBC doesn't know from which column to which field you need to populate, and that is the only mapping what you need to do within this code. That's it. Okay, so if you specify, okay, so as a legitimate, so your RowMapper, okay, will also gets the generics. If you apply the generics also, then automatically, okay, automatically it applies. Cannot instance it. Okay, that's fine. So you need to change. So I thought so it will be generates automatically. Basically, it will generate automatically. That's fine. Okay. So hopefully you understand. So what I'm really trying to say. Any questions?
Srini, actually, why I'm asking Mapro means how we are getting called to Mapro and how is executing again and again, because if it taking more time complexity or more time to execute this Mapro, so that will be headache again if you want to get the performance out of this matter.
Are you trying to comparing with JDBC to this one? Compare with your plain JDBC versus this one? Is it what you're saying?
No, actually, right now this is a means like gray area means how this method is means how much this method is taking time to execute. Let's say we are setting more records or doing more things. So that
I
time it
don't
will be problematic.
think so. Hold on. I don't think so. Internally, maybe if they are using a very generalized code also, I don't think so. They might be having a lot of processing code, okay, inside of it. So simply what they might be doing is internally, so it's a internally one more callback method. They will construct a list of employee objects, okay, so that is what they will do, and every time they will call one by one of this row mapper, and then so they will add one by one row into the list. Finally they will return you the list. I think that is what a maximum of the logic, so what I'm expecting. But the same the case even you are also doing in JDBs also. Here also you can prepare, you have to prepare your own list, okay, then you need to add one by one record here, okay, and the same thing also can be done here. But only thing is, ultimate goal of the Spring JDBC is to avoid the code from as much as the developer, and so we want to write in a generic code, so where the developer can only concentrate on this the mapping part, and rest will be handled by the Spring framework. But I don't think so there is a huge amount of the processing is required to return you the list.
Yeah,
Is it
that's
making sense what I'm saying?
yeah.
Okay, so the only thing is, what is my analysis on this is, they are only preparing a list object inside of it. Is they are adding one by one whenever if you are executing, it's a callback method, one by one row. So based on the results at every time iteration, they are calling one by one, just adding into the list. That is what only thing they might be doing inside of it, nothing else.
If it's aggregator, then the things will not be that much complex. If we are doing more processing, let's say looping and checking some values, then it's problematic. If it's having more time
So
complexity.
okay. So I don't think so. Okay, so that can be any problem, because as we are directly using the native SQLs, and we are okay, even the logic is also in front of us. So which fields to which field it is populating. So it is everything. The only thing it is converting into the list. It is returning you. So I don't think there could be any performance issues. Okay. So now, so that is about how the purpose of the RowMapper. But if you look at in both aspects, so here also I'm executing the select star from employee, okay, for especially for one record, and here I'm getting for multiple records. But if you see, ultimately what I'm doing here, I'm duplicating the code in both the places. So here is the code is duplicated, okay, but here is the code is duplicated, okay. Is there any way centralizedly I can log this code? Okay, the RowMapper, I want to centralizedly lock this code, and whenever I want in a situations, I want to reuse this. Yes, that is being possible. And that's what I'm trying to show you. The next example called RowMapper advanced example. Okay, in this example, what I'm doing is the same example. I just come here, I remove this code here, hold this code, and I've removed all this code, and then I've written a separate Java class called RowMapper advanced example. So what I'm doing is, instead of writing such a long lines of a code in this place, I'm just passing a RowMapper where it's sitting, and here also I'm passing the same thing where RowMapper is sitting. So the same code will be reused in several places wherever you want. Okay, but if it is in only one place, you can directly write a anonymous class and then do it. So you feel that you are using in a different places, it will be always good approach to write in a centralized class. Means it's in a separate class. I've added a separate class called employee RowMapper implements RowMapper. You know, okay, you know. So once you added, so RowMapper, employee RowMapper, okay. So if you implements RowMapper, okay, if you added a RowMapper, as you know, so it has the abstract method, okay, called MapRow, and so which we have implemented here. Same code. I think nothing what to be explained here. So just if you pass this class object, internally this callback method will be used JD query, and then it will execute that. It will map everything. It will give you a list for you. And just I'm iterating that. The same thing, however, it is working in previous situation, it should work exactly here also. IDMP record number is 10, okay, and if I run this code, it should give you the same response. Make sense? Okay, and I gave you, okay, couple of examples. You can still practice your own with many other examples and all different, okay, methods, different APIs. So whenever there is whenever if you have any requirement, you can always look at so different methods of this JT objects. Okay, you don't need to by heart all these methods. Depends on your situation, so think about which method can be suitable for you, and you can apply those methods accordingly. Okay, so any questions so far, any doubts?
Srini, I have one doubt.
Yes.
Sorry. These queries can be placed anywhere in the common place, the way we did for an employee RowMapper.
Yes. Okay, you feel that so this query is a common query. Okay, so this feature is there. I don't know how many of you know the hibernate, but okay, so this feature is there already in hibernate. So we have something called, okay, we have something called named queries. You can write a named query, and then you can access, you can give a such a big query you can write. For that query you can give it some name, and with that name you can retry. But I don't think so. There is a method which will directly give you to look up that name. I don't think so that can be possible for to look up a method directly. If you see, whatever a method that we are looking, every method is expecting to you to pass SQL. But what you can do is, for just to use our common sense to apply the logic, you can write a class called global constants, or maybe write a class called global SQL queries, and pull all these queries from outside of this class, and then place all your queries in that class and write. So those are all the static queries. Okay, I mean static queries means you can make those queries as a static and final, right? And then so you can directly access that variable and then place it here. So what you can do, you can maintain all those queries in separate class and then access it. But you don't have a direct way to look up directly like named queries by looking at the name. So your query should be replaced I don't think so that any method can support here. Does it answer your question?
Yes, Srini. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I think that's all about on this project, and I'll also try to show you a couple of inserts, updates, deletes, and then selects as well. Okay. Okay. So I'll show you those examples. Any questions? And before we move on to the next example. Okay. So all right, so let's move on to the next example. Next example also pretty easy. Okay, I'm not making it complicated, so I'm trying to showing you all other insert and updates and delete operations. Okay, so with that, what I'm doing is, for that I'm building as a web application. So web application, so that is a Spring framework. I'm trying to showing you like run as a part of your web application. Okay, for this application I am using Spring core module. Absolutely, it is compulsory, and so I am using Spring JDBC. Spring framework first time, so okay, moving into a part of web application, so pushing these modules into the server. Okay, then so I'm using a servlets for to receiving the request and sending a response. Basically this application is to scale up to understand about the banking related concepts, like banking based applications. I'm not using a pure banking operations, but at least similar with that concepts. Okay, and then so I'm using a JSP for to design the web pages, and I'm using concept of HTML frames. Okay, so and we have MySQL is the database and SQLag is the client. So for to build this application, you can use Eclipse or you can still use STS. Okay, and as I'm building, so this is a project is a Maven is a builder tool based project. So Maven builder tool. Okay, so Maven based web project. So far you have seen Maven is a standalone application, right? So you can also use Maven for to build the web applications. Maven for to create a web application. If it is a web application, slight directory structure is different. Okay, this. So that also Maven will create automatically. So very simple for that. If you really want to add that, so simply go to Maven project. So click on next. So here insert. So if you select, this is a quick start Maven artifact. So it will be a standalone application. If you select as a web app, so that is a Maven web architect. So then according to that folder structure will be different. You know, if it is a web application, directory of the folder structure should be different. Okay, the same way I did for this also. Okay, so I'll go ahead and then try to import this, and then so let me show you the application first. Let me show you the application first. I'll go to here, file, import. Okay, and I will import the application existing project into application workspace. Browse the location of the project. So I have a project with the name called JDBC Bank Web Project. Copy this project, finish it. Okay, as usual, so we'll try to refactor our project. Refactor and rename the Maven artifacts. Still it is building, downloading some respective jars. Still it is downloading. Okay, I'll change the name of the project sequence to 022. Okay, Spring DAO. Spring DAO. Okay. Bank web projects. Bank web. Okay, anything is fine. So that's it. So let me select this. I'll click on refactor. I'm expecting it should be refactored in all the places. So bad luck. It is not done. Why it is not done? I don't know why it is not done. So let's refactor, rename Maven artifact. It has been changed. I don't know why it is not changed the series sequence. Okay. I'll change bank underscore web project. Shall I change like this? Okay. Maybe I will not use the preview option. Let me select preview.
Srini, in that there is a checkbox you have to check, right? Eclipse.
Oh, yeah, you are correct. You forgot. I forgot. Thank you. Thank you for recollecting that. Okay, so Spring Web project. I forgot it. That is my mistake. Okay. So I need to rename in entire project in workspace. I have not selected the checkbox. Good catch. Good catch. Yes. Okay. Ultimately, we are able to so move it. So if it is a web project, so you should be able to see src folder under main web app. So all these files are different files. Under src, I have different files. So many files has been written for this application. Okay. So I don't have a server for configure. That's why all these errors are coming up, because it is not able to detect the servlet API. Because so you need to have a servlet API, HTTP servlet classes, servlet response. Okay. Let me add the server. So you can use any server. So let me build the server here. Let's go to preferences. Okay. Go to server configuration section, runtime environments. Okay, add a server. You go to Apache Tomcat. Use any version of the server. Maybe I can use Apache Tomcat 7.0, 8.0, 9.0. Up to you which version you want to use. 7.0 I will use it. So click on next. Browse. I think I have already downloaded. So education right. Under this I have Java software. Okay. Under this I have a Java servers. I have all the different versions. I'll select Apache Tomcat 7.0. So I'll select JDK 1.8. I will select JDK 1.8 and then finish it. Okay, so I just selected and then I will apply. Okay, so I will apply and close. And then I will add that server into the build path. Okay, so here looks like this project is built on 8. So that's fine, doesn't matter. So I'll select Apache Tomcat 7.0 and JDK I'll choose 1.8. Okay, then finish it. So I added the server, then apply. Let me go to projects facets as well. Okay. In projects facets also, what runtime you are using, that is important. I'm selecting Apache Tomcat 7.x. Okay, and JDK is this, which is already configured. Java 1.8. Let me choose. Okay, then I'll apply, then apply and close. Okay, what is project facets? The facets are nothing but your settings. So basically your project specific settings, and that settings will be under project facets. So the build path is only to add your jar files, the server paths and all, and the project related specific settings are being will be saved in the project facets section. In the facets, you can always go to facets, choose your what is the runtime environment, what Java versions you are using, so what are the different other versions which you are using, everything that you can see, the project configuration information basically.
So Srini, finally it's going to update in pom.xml, right?
No, not in pom.xml. In the server, in the project, you have something called settings folder, right? Within that project, so there you can update all this. Okay. So yeah, I think what we will do, maybe for I thought I can do demonstration, but I have to move to other session. So probably what we'll do, I think so everything is done, setup is done. The only thing is I need to run the application and show you the outputs. So probably which we can discuss in the next session. Okay. Right.
Srini, I have a request. I have a request for you. When you are explaining any stuff and all, it would be nice if you could add any questions so that it will be helpful for everyone. I feel that.
Okay, the question means in terms of interview questions you are talking about.
Yeah, it's a sort of not exact. That stimulates. You can just gives more idea of just also makes us to remember that particular concept or everything. So yeah, it would be nice if you add questions in between that.
I didn't get you. So is it
Okay.
something, do you want me ask you a question whether you understand or not, or do you want me explain you what kind of interview questions can come? So I just
Yeah,
want to get
interview questions. These sort of questions might come into. They will ask outside that sort of questions. If you could raise in the after the completion of topic, it would be nice.
absolutely, yeah. So I'll come up with the document for that. So we'll discuss those questions.
Yeah,
And we'll
as soon
also
as you come.
in the sessions as well.
Yeah, as soon as you complete, so today you just pointed out the RowMapper and the mapper, so and also that the world of JDBC and this string and the differences sort of if you could give us more insight is helpful for us.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Okay. All right. So any other questions? Yeah, I have a lot of interview questions and related to this. Don't worry. I'll share you maybe end of the course. I will share you the document which I've prepared, and I also have. Okay, it has more than 100 to 150 questions probably in the document. I'll share it to you. Okay. All right. So that's it. I have a wonderful day to all of you, and see you on the next session. Bye bye.